ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
The biggest sports stories in Wisconsin, talked about by Wisconsin sports fans, for Wisconsin sports fans.
The Bucks aren't answering the phone. It's as simple as that. They shouldn't answer the phone because you don't just get. I don't care if you give me 65 first-round picks. You're not getting another Giannis.
Right. So my natural take here is going to, I'm going Packers here.
I fully agree with you.
Yeah, I'll take the Packers in the home opener as well.
Yeah, the Packers going to come in and they got to prove something. They got to play with a chip on their shoulder, and I think they beat Detroit week
Jason,
one.
do you think this is crazy that all four of us just picked the Packers in week one?
Congratulations, you've now assured the fact that the Lions will win.
This is Sunday Karma, powered by ESPN Wisconsin. Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue. Alongside Greg Scalzo, Alex Strofe, and Kyle Wallace, here's Good Karma Brand's founder and CEO, Craig Karmazin.
Yeah, away we go on a Sunday. Sunday Karma with you, ESPN Wisconsin. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, including Craig Karmazin and Greg Scalzo, who we've decided to give the day off on this Father's Day.
This is a rarity for Craig. Usually he works on Father's Day.
Oh, really?
This is throwing me off a
Well,
little bit.
I know when he was with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on Friday, he mentioned he was at Disney World.
What the hell is he doing at Disney World?
I
He's
think
too big to be at Disney World.
I mean, I agree, first off. But I think it's probably not a play for Craig.
I don't think it's for his child either.
Well, then what the hell is he doing at Disney World?
I think he a big Disney because
He's just chopping it up with Mickey Mouse on a Friday in June?
maybe he's trying to cut deals with Disney and Mickey. Trying to get the Disney Mickey
Sure.
podcast, Mickey and Minnie podcast.
Sure.
Call me Minnie podcast.
Call me Minnie. Well, happy Father's Day to Craig. Happy Father's Day to
Minnie
Greg.
Mouse will have all type of dirt to talk about, boy.
Dude, I bet.
I bet you Minnie drop all the tea. That'd be a hell of a talking about what Goofy did.
Oh, yeah.
Mickey back in his player days when he was on dirt. That would actually be a really good podcast. Yeah, Pluto.
You AI that or what?
Man, that would be after dark. It would need to be after dark.
So Mickey and Minnie After Dark.
Mickey and Minnie after dark. Yes. Damn, that would be a good podcast.
You-
Boy,
you
if Disney
actually-
came up with like a
You actually might
adult-
be onto something here. But it's
Man.
got to be like an adult version.
No, yeah, adult version.
Nothing-
Talking about all the stuff that was happening.
This-
Who was with who?
Yeah, this is not for the kids'
Who
eyes.
cheated on who?
But Kyle, I don't think any of that is happening. I don't think we have any nefarious relationships going on at Disney. It's all for the kids.
So you would think. You never know. You never know with these animals and with these people, man.
They're fictional characters, Kyle.
Yeah.
I don't think they're.
What do you mean? The princesses and princes aren't real?
All right.
Let me stop.
Yeah, what a way to start Sunday Karma here on ESPN Wisconsin. That's Kyle Wallace and Alex Strofe hanging out with you until noon today. Lots to get into. It was a big week that was, man. I mean, it started off hot. Jair Alexander gets released by the Green Bay Packers Monday. You have the end of mandatory minicamp, which we will work our way through on Father's Day with with one of our favorite fathers, Jason Wilde, who will join us at 10:30 this morning. We've got plenty of what we've dubbed nonsense here at ESPN Wisconsin. Nonsense around Giannis. Nonsense. Very clever. So we will dive a little bit into Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Brewers losing their first game in this weekend Cardinals series last night. The final game of 4 is this afternoon at AmFam Field, a 1:10 first pitch for the Brewers in second place in the NL Central. Can they catch the Cubs? That is the question we will be asking, I don't know, for the next 5 months, 4 months, I guess really 3 months, as baseball continues to go. Brewers now 38-34. Cubs 5.5 games ahead of them, 43-28 on the season. But the Brewers going to have a very big opportunity with the Chicago Cubs. I believe it's this week, starting Tuesday.
Yeah, the Miz is going up against the Cubs. It is a big one. If we win today, yeah.
Is that Tuesday Miz goes? Is Miz going Tuesday?
Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not 100% sure.
So we've got plenty to get into. We'll be with you until noon today here on ESPN Wisconsin. I'm just trying to check if our boy's going to go. I'm struggling here looking at the schedule. Here we go. Mizorowski, Wednesday against the Cubs. Chad Patrick will take the bump Tuesday after a day off tomorrow for the Crew. So big series, 3-game series. Down in Chicago begins Tuesday. We'll get into that all a bit later. But what I want to start with today, Kyle, is professional athletes / their family members in the year of 2025. Twitter has become, and it always has been by all means, but it has become this outlet for family members of professional athletes or just professional athletes themselves to at least attempt to take back the narrative about them, right? I mean, we have the opportunity here every single day at ESPN Wisconsin in some capacity, some way, shape, or form to talk about the biggest stories in Wisconsin sports. And the last couple of weeks, of course, think about it. It's been Giannis. It's been Jair Alexander. It's been
Aaron Rodgers
getting married. And obviously,
getting married,
winding up in Pittsburgh is actually the real story. And social media, for some reason, has just evolved and become the place where people, not always necessarily the subject of the story, right? Not the subject of the Jair Alexander story, a place for them to attempt to take back the narrative. And we'll start with Jair Alexander, but there's also a Giannis factor to this. So Jair Alexander's been the center of attention, the center of controversy, the center of question marks, not only this offseason, but for a majority of the last 2 or 3 Green Bay Packers seasons, right? Will he or won't he play? Will he or won't he be available on Sunday when the Packers play? Will he or won't he be back for a playoff run for Green Bay? That's been the conversation around Jair Alexander the last several seasons. So as it got to this offseason, and whether or not the Packers and Jair Alexander could reach a solution, find common ground where maybe they could try to run this thing back one final time. Ultimately, that's not what happened. The commentary was, after Jair was released, that he was not willing to take a pay cut. Right?
So the Packers put out there.
Right. It was brought up that, the Packers offered a restructured contract. The Packers offered him an opportunity to stay. Now, in true Green Bay fashion, we assume, we do not know the X's and O's of this. I don't know that we'll ever know the X's and O's of this, given that Jair will not play for the Green Bay Packers in 2025. But what was that contract? And I think a lot of us go ahead and jump to the conclusion, which I think is a safe and fair conclusion when it comes to Green Bay, is they likely lowballed him, right? They likely cut his contract way apart and probably offered him a base salary, maybe some incentives, maybe some guaranteed money, but it was likely a low contract. But Jair didn't sign it. Why would that be? Well, probably because he didn't want to take a pay cut, right? That would be the easy solution to jump to. And that is indeed the solution that many people jumped to this week, including Peter Schrager on ESPN, who joined Pat McAfee earlier in the week and said, quote, at the end of the day, Jair Alexander didn't want to take a pay cut, end quote. Well, Jair didn't tweet. Jair's not hopping on Threads. Jair's not Instagram storying his feelings about the situation. But who is? Fittingly enough, on Father's Day, Jair's father is the one getting in the mix on Twitter, Landis Alexander. So in response to Peter Schrager on ESPN saying, at the end of the day, Jair Alexander didn't want to take a pay cut, end quote, Landis Alexander replies on Twitter at Earl L. Alexander. I would assume his name is Earl, but he goes by Landis. That's the conclusion I'm reaching.
L is for Landis?
That would be my guess.
Yeah, people do that.
People go by their middle name. And I think that's the case here with Landis Alexander. Landis replies to Peter Schrager, quote, that is a flat-out lie, end quote, from Landis Alexander on Twitter, attempting to take the narrative back. But then he goes on and going back and forth with people on Twitter. He then went on to say, that is not true. Nobody ever said that he wouldn't take a pay cut. He wasn't willing to play for damn near free is a better quote. I appreciate how you said that as if it was spot on. The only thing that was slightly off is that there was an unwillingness to rework a contract. That implying there was an unwillingness from the Packers to rework a contract. There actually was a willingness. They just offered something that would have been foolish to take. The unwillingness was on them. That from Landis Alexander attempting to take the narrative back. Okay, well, Landis Alexander, after it's said and done, after Jair is cut and a free agent allowed to sign wherever he wants to, Landis Alexander hopping on Twitter, and there's plenty more. It's very interesting. If you want to read more into it, you can find him on Twitter at Earl L. Alexander. But that's not the only case. I love that social media has become this platform for players and people affiliated to players to say, you're an idiot, or you're wrong, or that's stupid. It's happened to Kyle many times.
Whoa, why you got to bring me into this?
Because I think you're the right person to bring into this.
I mean,
when you say things about Christian Watson, who often tweets at you?
Well, you mean Christian Watson's father?
Yeah, when you talk about his son, Christian Watson's dad,
or when I don't
hops
talk
on
about
Twitter
his
to
son.
defend himself.
Or when I don't talk about his son, he hops on Twitter.
I just think on this Father's Day, it is an appropriate time to acknowledge the fathers that are fighting for their sons. When bad people like Kyle Wallace are on the internet talking about, oh, a bruise? Or, oh yeah, he's probably like the third best wide receiver. People like Christian Watson's dad and Jair Alexander's dad getting an opportunity to take back the narrative. I think they deserve a happy Father's Day, Kyle. Why don't you wish a happy Father's Day to Landis Alexander?
I wish a happy Father's Day to Landis. I ain't wishing a happy Father's Day to Samim Watson, Hitman, whatever the hell his name is. I'm not wishing that because I still got a little beef with him because he had the audacity to sit here and get upset about us talking about the Green Bay Packers' lack of going in for it when on the NFL draft when they drafted Matthew Golden. He and his son, not Christian, his other son, were talking about, this is what, see, look, they stupid. This is why they don't want to win. But so when it's cool when they do it, but the problem when I do it. And so, yeah. And for this one, I'm actually proud of Jair Alexander's dad stepping up because that's what you should do as a good father. Your son can't always speak up and defend himself because right now he's in the process of trying to find a new team to go to. But he's probably annoyed because of the narrative that's happening. I mean, I've been in a position before where I've heard some narratives about a family member, and I'm just like, dude, this isn't even true, right? You get frustrated, get upset, and you're just like, as a family, you're like, you know what? Nah, we're not going to touch that. We're just going to let it be, let it boil over. But I'm glad Jair's dad spoke up because something Brian Bulaga said, who joins across all ESPN Wisconsin throughout the week, is he said that he probably thought they offered Jair less than $7 million
I guarantee that's the case.
And so, yes, that's basically if you offer somebody, he's supposed to make $17.5 million this year, something like that, $18 million. If you are taking a pay cut of over $10 million and the Packers don't even potentially give him incentives to make all his money back, which we do not know. But based off what his dad is saying, is that they probably did offer him pennies, just like they offered Aaron Jones pennies. It's all just like they offered Jordy Nelson pennies. That's what the Green Bay Packers do. They offer you pennies. And so in this, I think there's some validity to the fact that Jair Alexander's dad said, you know what, I'm not about to let my son take this bashing because he was more than willing to take a pay cut and come back to the Packers. But the Packers wanted to pay him what they wanted to pay him. They didn't want to negotiate. They wanted to say, this is what we're willing to do. Take it or leave it. And Jair said, I'm going to leave it. And so that's why I'm on Jair's side when it comes to this. I understand people say, well, he's so injured. He's so hurt. I understand all that. But at the end of the day, Jair, just like the Packers signed a contract. People get mad at players for holding out all the time when they want more money. So we can't sit here and not flip it on the Packers for saying they want to pay him less and him saying, no, I'm not doing that.
No,
happy Father's Day to what's his
Landis or Earl.
Earl Landis Alexander. Happy Father's Day to you being a great father.
But nothing to Tazid.
Who?
Tazid.
Is that what he goes by?
That would be that would be NFL Hitman 33. That's Christian Watson's dad on Twitter. But the other half of this is, and also a very happy Father's Day to Giannis Antetokounmpo, who continues to attempt to, I don't necessarily want to say take the narrative back, but continue to sidestep all of the conversations that are going on. And Twitter has become his place to do it. Giannis tweeting left and right, doing Q&As and, different thoughts on this and that. And earlier this week, Shams Charania of ESPN went on the Pat McAfee show and said, something to the effect of, this summer's going to be about Giannis, but it won't be until after the draft. And it won't be until after the finals, and it actually won't be until after free agency. The summer of Giannis is going to continue into August and September when teams begin reporting. And Giannis didn't reply to Shams. He didn't acknowledge what Shams said on the Pat McAfee show. What did Giannis do? He tweeted a simple 5 words. 5 words to sidestep what Shams is saying a couple of days ago. He tweeted, quote, "Does anyone else miss Woj?" Referring to Adrian Wojnarowski, who had Shams Charania's job prior to Shams Charania.
Yeah, Giannis doesn't like, it doesn't sound like he likes Shams. He feels this way.
Does anyone else
brother, this guy stinks!
That's how Giannis feels about Shams?
A lot of us probably at this point.
I like Shams. I don't have an issue with him. I just, look, and we'll
need to keep my star franchise player name out of his mouth.
We're gonna take a little deep dive into Giannis and the situation around Giannis in the 11 o'clock hour. But I just love that Twitter and Father's Day, it's a perfect storm, Kyle. Everybody's taking the narrative back. Does anybody else miss Woj? Sounds like Kyle does. All right, happy Father's Day to you. Plenty more to get into. I want to dive a little bit deeper into Jair and the Packers coming up next. How does this affect the Packers defense? Frankly, I don't think it's a whole lot. I don't think Kyle agrees with me. We'll dive into that. Jake, I see you hanging on the Cardless Talk and text line, which is your way into Sunday Karma, 800-990-3776, 800-990-ESPN, your way into Sunday Karma. I'm Alex Strofe. That's Kyle Wallace. We're hanging out with you until noon this morning, talking all things Wisconsin sports. Jason Wilde will join us in about 15 minutes. We'll take a deep dive into the Packers defense coming up next right here on Sunday Karma.
This is Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. You remember the moments from that magical March.
Side Decker. It's a 3. Got it!
On June 26th, celebrate the squad with Made 'em Believe, a special night with Bo Ryan, Frank Kaminsky, and Sam Decker.
Here's Kaminsky. The drop stab. That's his favorite. And the 2.
Presented by Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, Potosi Varsity Ale, and Potosi Hard Seltzer. Tickets are on sale now at UWHoops2015.com. Made 'em Believe, June 26th at the Orpheum Theater in Madison.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Be prepared for the unexpected and keep your home powered with Generac generators. Their home standby generators serve as an excellent backup plan in case of a power outage. Plus, they have advanced technology to automatically start within seconds of sensing a power loss. Save big on Generac generators. Also, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Want to play your best golf ever? The Wisconsin Country Club just launched WCC Performance Academy, powered by Catalyst Golf Performance and Aritas Physical Therapy. TrackMan, 3D Motion, Miha EMS, everything to move better, feel stronger, and shoot lower scores. Train like a pro or like an athlete. Play pain-free. I'm ESPN Milwaukee's Gabe Neitzel. Become a member at Wisconsin Country Club like I did. No assessments, no minimums, and a beautiful, challenging course and great corporate membership opportunities, plus tennis, pickleball, and a pool. Visit thewisconsincountryclub.com. Just a fairway away.
At Potawatomi, where ways to win are endless, another chance to capture epic cash and prizes comes Friday, June 27th. It's the season finale blockbuster drawings. Watch your entries from Enchanted Spins, Unreal Treasures, and Boundless Bounty come together for drawings where $300,000 in cash and prizes is there for the taking. Be there to win your share. June 27th only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 years old to play.
Your current car, soon to be your old car. A new car? Better start looking. But you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with free credit score and score monitoring on most new consumer checking accounts. Because when you know you need to make a big purchase, knowing your credit score puts you in the driver's seat. You've got this with free credit monitor from Associated Bank. See AssociatedBank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food Store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 24-pack Essential Everyday Purified Water, 2 for $6. 7 to 16-ounce selected varieties Barilla Pasta or Ready Pasta, 2 for $3. 6-count selected varieties Klondike Bars, 2 for $8. 12-ounce selected varieties Hell of a Good Dips, 2 for $3.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers.
Safe. Okay. Ooh, Pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
Hey, it's Kyle Walsh, and if you're a homeowner like me, you know how it goes. There's always a project that needs attention, and sometimes the big ones, like replacing old windows, get pushed to the bottom of the list. But I'm telling you, this is the time to finally check that box with Universal Windows Direct. They're running their home improvement season sale, and the offer is just too good to pass up. You can get payments as low as $99 a month or no payments and no interest for an entire year. Call 414-410-2000 or go to universalwindowsdirect.com.
Hey, it's Brian Balaga. Find the Homer Hour on the ESPN Wisconsin app today.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The brand new ESPN Wisconsin app. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today.
Daddy, what's that mean? That little turtle and the rabbit. He sat me in that seat, showed me the wheel and how to grab.
More Sunday Karma coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
I'll take you with me.
Very Kyle Wallace-esque song here, bringing us in.
It's Father's Day. Luke Combs, I like Luke Combs.
Okay.
It's Father's Day, man. One day we'll be able to wake up and...
So no ratchet music on Father's Day, is what you're saying?
There's not too many ratchet Father's Day songs. So usually on Father's Day, I play Father's Day songs, like, you know, typically when I play when Jason comes on and Will Smith. I've been doing this a while now, man.
Play a little Ben Rector for Jason.
I don't...
That's one of Jason's favorite guys. He writes a lot of songs about his daughters, yeah.
Oh, please tell me a recommendation.
Okay, we can talk about it in the break.
All right, thank you.
All right, very good. Kyle Wallace, Alex Strofe with you at Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin. Happy Father's Day to you. All the fathers out there, appreciate you hanging out with us on your Father's Day. So this Jair Alexander situation is fascinating for a number of reasons, right? He's Goody's first draft pick. Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Green Bay Packers, when he was promoted in 2018, the 2018 NFL Draft, his first round pick, Jair Alexander. And we've talked plenty over the years about Brian Gutekunst and his loyalty to his draft picks. That's why the Anders Carlson experience went on for too long, the former Packers kicker. That's why the Amari Rodgers experiment probably went on a year too long. Right there, and there's plenty more examples in terms of draft picks that Goody has remained loyal to a fault with. And it seems like maybe Jair could have been one of those candidates, and maybe already was one of those candidates, but is not, but certainly been the case. I threw it up on Twitter because, you know, talking with Kyle and other Packers fans, it seems like there is some sort of attitude towards the Jair Alexander situation in which fans think it was the wrong choice to move on from Jair Alexander. Kyle, I know you're not the only one that feels this way. Of people I've talked to about this situation, and people are going, well, Carrington Valentine and Nate Hobbs and Keyshawn Nixon, that's going to be enough in the defensive backfield? Right? People feel like it's not. Me, for one, I'm okay with this scenario because, A, I think we kind of always knew it was coming, right? When the season ended at locker cleanout, Jair Alexander told Jason Weldy and a couple other reporters, I'm not answering questions because I don't even know if I'm going to be here.
And that's the energy. He was just kind of feeling upset the team lost, and the Packers had given him energy and indicated that they had some beef. And when you have beef with somebody, you really just sometimes can't control your emotions.
And of the final 68 games that Jair Alexander was a member of the Green Bay Packers, 34 of them he missed. That's half, 50% of the games. 50% of the final 68 games that Jair Alexander was a member of the Packers, he only played 50% of them. So I've thrown it on Twitter now. You can find it on Twitter at ESPN Milwaukee, at ESPN Madison, at Alex_Strouf, STROUF. Do you agree with
Kyle Waltz?
Well, you didn't tweet it.
At KWall12. I mean, you added ESPN Milwaukee in whatever. You could add it at KWall1224.
That's not your Twitter.
What's my... Oh, ESPN Kyle W.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do it, because you don't even know what the damn account is.
I got too many accounts. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're having an identity crisis on social media.
No, not at all.
Unlike Giannis and unlike Landis Alexander, Kyle Wallace having a social media identity crisis.
I switched that over almost 2 years ago. Whoops.
It's on Twitter right now, at ESPN Milwaukee, at Alex_Strofe. Do you agree with the Packers' decision to release Jair Alexander? Early showings in the poll, only been out there for about 6 minutes. We're at about 50 votes. 86% of people say yes, they agree with the Packers' decision to release Jair Alexander. As do I. I fall into that 86% because it is the right decision. When it comes down to this, availability is the best ability. We've went through this with David Bakhtiari. It's very similar to the David Bakhtiari situation, right? When the guy is on the field, he's awesome, right? And no disagreement from me when it comes to Jair. When Jair was available, he was solid, right? He was a really good corner in this league.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue was you just couldn't rely on him. And
I don't like you comparing him to David Bakhtiari, though.
But it's an incredibly similar situation.
It's not. David Bakhtiari legitimately could not play. Like, he has not played in years. Where Jair Alexander will play for somebody, there wasn't a fear that David would go somewhere and go kill it somewhere else. We have a slight fear, that Jair could go somewhere else, maybe even in a division, and come back to Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. I hear you on that. I guess there's the big difference to your point is Jair, at least we assume, will continue his playing career elsewhere. Hasn't signed anywhere yet, but imagine he will within the coming weeks. So, it might leak into training camp a little bit. You'll wait to see if there's a bad injury or something, and that opens up a spot for Jair on a contender, which I assume is where he wants to end up, whether that's a Baltimore or a Buffalo or wherever, right? Somewhere that can legitimately compete for a championship. I imagine that is where Jair will end up. Now, obviously, there's ties to Minnesota, and we can talk about potential destinations when Jason Wilde joins us coming up next. But to me, this was the right decision. You feel comfortable enough with the pieces you have in the cornerback room. It's guys you've seen play a lot of football the last couple of years, especially the two in Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine that were on the roster, filling in for an injured Jair over the years. Carrington Valentine's been way, 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 way better than anybody expected, A, and B, I think even better than people give him credit for. He's only allowed one touchdown in coverage in his NFL career. 2 years in, Carrington Valentine's only allowed one touchdown, which is great, right? That's a really good stat. That's only one stat. Completion percentage was a little bit higher for opposing teams when Jair Alexander wasn't on the field. But I think all in all, you're comfortable with the pieces you have. That's why you go into free agency and you invest in a guy like Nate Hobbs. You feel good about Keyshawn Nixon as a starting corner. Now, is he CB1 like he's self-proclaimed anytime? Well, that will be seen. But regardless, at this point, you feel good with those three pieces and then a couple of depth pieces, right? Javon Bullard plays a little bit in the nickel, will play that slot corner position. So you feel good about the assets you have.
Yeah.
Now, would it be great to have a former All-Pro also on the roster? Of course it would be. But can you rely on him to be available? The simple answer is no. And that's why you get to the decision the Packers got to earlier this week by finally releasing cornerback Jair Alexander. So a couple days removed, do you agree with the Packers' decision? You can get in on that. 800-990-3776. That is the Carbless Talk and Text line. We go to Jake in Milwaukee now. Jake. Oh, Jake hung up. Okay, got it. Well, we don't go to Jake. We'll go to Kyle Wallace, and then we'll get the break. You are a hard no still a couple days removed?
Yeah, I'm not being stubborn. I'm just being real. At the end of the day, I understood what I was going to get from Jair, which was I wasn't sure if he was going to be available for 17 games. I wasn't expecting him to be available for 17 games. So for me, if the Green Bay Packers have this additional funds, right, and they don't do anything with those additional funds, and it comes at the end of the year, they could have kept Jair Alexander and say, hey, Jair only played 12 games, but he gave you a playoff run, then I still think it was worth every single penny, because then you still could have moved on from Jair at the end of this season and still save money. So that's where I'm at mentally, is like, hey, like, I get it. He didn't play a lot, but if the money's already on the books and it's not going to harm your ability to be able to sign an extension for Zach Tom, or maybe you're cooking up something where you can sign somebody else, then there's no reason to free yourself of this cash when you're not going to utilize this cash to improve this team this year.
JP on Twitter chimes in, yeah, I'm fine now. It hurt at first, but time heals everything. He only played 33% of snaps last season. They were still a top 10 defense. Plus, Bo knows ball, in reference to Bo Melton, who is playing A little bit of quarter at mandatory minicamp?
Well, I mean, in mandatory minicamp, that's the time for people to do that. I know we all talked about how ridiculous it is to have Bo Melton playing there, but if you're going to play around, I just want people to understand, mandatory minicamp is a time where guys just kind of are going through the motions. Like the younger guys, the newer guys trying to prove something, going through, they're fighting. But other guys, veterans, it's just like, hey, when is it time for my vacation before the real grind starts? And so that's why Bo Melton, them tinkering there with Bo Melton. And remember, the Packers did not do anything day 3 typically in the past.
Real quick, to your point, that's your time to experiment.
No, 100%
right?
is.
We talk about that in our jobs, right? Like the football offseason. It's the time to experiment with stuff. And that's what the Packers are doing with Bo Melton. But to reference one of Jason Wilde's favorite skits in SNL history, what's up with that? What's up with that? Bo Melton play a little bit of corner wide receiver? We'll dive into that. Jason Wilde, 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, joins us next. Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
College students, are you looking to make your campus living more comfortable, functional, and fashionable this year? Let IKEA help. From innovative storage solutions and furniture to maximize your space, to fashionable bedding and accessories to make it uniquely yours, IKEA is helping make college living truly inspired by you. And now, qualified college students can save even more with 15% off their IKEA purchase when they sign up for IKEA Family for free. Visit IKEA Oak Creek, IKEA Schaumburg, or check out the Ready for College section on IKEA.com/US to learn more.
Progressive knows when you're on your boat, you're already on vacation. And Vacation You forgets all your worries. Vacation You doesn't even keep track of time and knows that time is a meaningless construct designed to control us, man. But Regular You knows you don't want to be too far out in the water after the sun goes down because Vacation You doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet. Vacation You and Regular You really need to get on the same page. So bundle your boat with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Here at Total Wine & More, our amazing selection means you'll always
love what you find.
Dad, what are you doing here?
Just getting a sneak peek at my Father's Day gifts.
Well, I was thinking of getting you this Barrel Select bourbon.
That's a really nice bottle.
And Total Wine has it at the totally lowest price.
Wow. You always were my favorite.
Thanks, Dad.
Talking to the bourbon, sweetie.
Find what you love what you find. Like the perfect gift for Dad at the perfect price. Only at Total Wine & More.
And drink responsibly. B21.
Live comedy on Okachi Lake. Join us for dinner and a show at the Golden Mast on June 27th with comedian John DeBoer. Get your tickets at goldenmastin.com. Enjoy a night of laughter and amazing food at the Golden Mast, your place on the lake. goldenmastin.com.
For your next night out, revel in the fusion of artistry and flavor with Sushi at St. Kate, offering guests an elevated experience where freshness and creativity converge in every bite. St. Kate the Arts Hotel introduces an exciting new sushi menu to its culinary repertoire. Indulge in the finest seafood, freshest ingredients, and expert craftsmanship for an inspired and delectable dining journey. Experience the art of sushi at St. Kate and learn more at stkatearts.com.
Forget average. At Exterior Pros, they bring the heat. They're not here to meet standards, they're here to smash them. From the first swing of the hammer to the final reveal, they're leveling up your home with every window, every shingle, and every single detail. This isn't just a remodel, it's a glow up for your house. Built tough, built beautiful, built to turn heads. Want in? Let's go. Lock in your project now and save $3,000. Exterior Pros, where bold meets built. Trust the pros and visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274.
They say seeing is believing. And when you check out what's waiting for you at American Place Casino, you'll definitely believe you'll love it. From thrilling gaming to top-notch service, we're changing the game. Come play all your favorites like blackjack, craps, roulette, and the latest slots. Catch a game at the sportsbook, enjoy great restaurants, bars, and more. If you're ready for excitement, exceptional service, and an experience you'll never forget, then we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game. Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Every child deserves a safe, loving, and permanent home. Help the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption Find families for children who've lingered in foster care the longest. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
In season, off season, draft season. Whatever season it is, we are Milwaukee's place to talk green and gold. Listen, watch, or stream live whenever, wherever. 94.5 ESPN. Listening to Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin. Alex Strofe, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you on this Father's Day. Three-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year. Co-host of Wilde and Tausch, longtime Packers beat reporter. Jason Wilde joins us now. But we know Jason takes pride in nothing more in his life than being a father. To his two daughters. Jason, happy Father's Day. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Yeah, it's pretty obnoxious, isn't it?
What's obnoxious?
Me. I'm just obnoxious. I mean, be honest. Like, they pretty much my entire life revolves around these two knuckleheads, and I don't really make a secret of it, so... Like right now, I'm catching volleyball serves.
I'm going to be the same way, Jason. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm going to be... Just
all right,
get ready.
good. I'm glad to hear that.
When the little Wallace... Don't let me have girls, because this is a wrap.
No, I don't think it's obnoxious. I think it's a good thing. It's also Father's Day, so I can't call it obnoxious. I have to be nice to you today.
Sure, you can call it obnoxious tomorrow, though.
I will. I will probably call it obnoxious tomorrow. But not today, damn it. We're impressed by it. So happy Father's Day, Jason. What's on the agenda today?
Telling you that it doesn't look like, based on your poll, although, I don't know, maybe we need more responses, that the fan base is split. When I voted, it was...
Yeah, it's a wipeout.
6%.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Well, maybe it's because I'm hosting today with a guy who voted yes in that poll, and Kyle Wallace. No in that poll. He does not agree with the Packers' decision to release Jair Alexander. Yeah, but you know Kyle. I mean, he's always worked up about he's always worked up about something, and this week it just so happens to be Jair, even though this is a team that's been playing effectively without Jair for the last two seasons.
Jason, it's simple as this. I understand Jair has not been available for the Green Bay Packers, and that is an absolute problem that he has not been available. But again, I don't know all the interworkings of the Green Bay Packers and what their financials look like. But what I do know is this, is that if they have money left over that, at the end of the year, that they didn't invest in any other pieces. I know you have to extend Zach Tom and maybe some other extensions. But if it comes out at the end of the year, the Packers could have probably still had Jair and then cut him after this season, then for me it's like, all right, well then let's just keep him, and if he doesn't play up to it, then you cut him after this year. But I just didn't understand why it needed to happen unless the Green Bay Packers really needed additional cap space for this season to do something that they need to do. So I guess it's to be seen, Jason. That's my only thing.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I don't think you're wrong about anything you said. They do have the cap space to have carried him. They do have the issues at the position that you could argue they would, and I think there's coaches that feel that this is true, they would be better if he was on their team, if he could play. And so I think, among the issues here is, and it's not supposed to be personal, it's supposed to be business, right? But, and I think this is a little bit of both, because I do think there's a frustration for any human being, including a general manager of a football team and coaches of football teams, that you keep paying a guy a ton of money and you get very little return on your investment. So I don't think it matters that they have sufficient cap space for him. They just don't. I'm not a gambler, but isn't there an old saying about chasing lose like $100, chasing the first 20 you lose? Throwing good money after bad.
I've done that many times.
Yeah, and you feel even worse after that, right?
I'm still stinging from 2011.
So, so to me, that's kind of what's at work here, because you're right, from a purely dollars and cents standpoint, they have ample space to have kept him on their team. They do.
Yep.
And this is why, because for all this time that this was going on, this discussion was never, well, can we get him back on a reduced salary? That to me is the flaw in all of the reporting and conversations about this situation, is that the Athletic reported that there was an offer on the table. Brian Gutekunst basically said that there was no offer on the table. So whoever, now, is Goody lying? Maybe. Was the source that the Athletic talked to inaccurate? Maybe. Well, I don't have a problem with the actual reporting, but what I'm saying is that what Goody said when he talked during practice last week, and everyone got that great screenshot of me with a very
your new profile picture,
confused or skeptical look on my face, was when he said that, I'm not even going to say if there was an offer or not, and then he basically said, look, at no point were they willing to take a pay cut. So then what the hell was the holdup here? And that's what goes to Kyle's point, is that at least in some way, because if he wasn't going to take a pay cut for the Packers, and he wasn't going to take a pay cut to accept the trade, then what are we doing here? What was the holdup?
Yeah.
He should have been cut in March.
Yeah, correct.
Unless they were willing to consider the idea of just paying him, which is what Kyle's advocating for, and then see how it goes. And maybe you trade him at the trade deadline, or maybe you just say, well, just like Kyle at the casino in 2011, we spent another $17 million, a little more than you probably spent that night, on this guy. And once again, we got burned, right? So that's the thing, is that they at least, because it took so long, they had to at least have been considering that possibility. And I don't know how strongly, but otherwise, then what were we doing? What was the holdup? Because if you were never going to have him on your team at $16.15 million base salary, then you were chasing a pipe dream of someone actually giving up assets for a trade. And they said the reporting from Jordan Schultz was that the Bills made an offer and was contingent on Jair Alexander being willing to restructure his contract. He said no, and that scuttled the deal.
Yeah, that's well said. Jason Wilde with us here on Sunday Karma. So I want to preface what I'm about to ask with this. Uh-oh. This has nothing to do with the Jair Alexander situation. Nothing to do with that. This would have happened if Jair Alexander was on the roster, or now that he's not on the roster. The Bo Melton thing is fascinating, Jason, right? I know you said earlier in the week, you don't think in your long history of covering the Packers on a daily basis as closely as you do, you've ever seen a player take first-team snaps with both the offense and the defense in the same practice. But that's something Bo Melton...
That's the same period.
Yeah, nonetheless.
Which he also did.
Right. Bo Melton did that earlier this week at mandatory minicamp as the Packers kind of experimenting with him. Can he play corner? Obviously, we know he can play a receiver, but it's a loaded room right now. It seems to me, this is the way I'm reading into it, and maybe this isn't it, but it almost seems like they're just trying to find a way to keep Bo on the roster because they like him, right? He's a versatile piece. They like him on teams. They like him on offense. They're trying him at defense during mandatory minicamp. That's how you're reading into this as well, right? Is just this is kind of their route of trying to find a spot for Bo Melton on the final 53 come September.
So let me tell you a really old story from like 1990.
Ooh, story time on Father's Day. Let's go.
So the Packers had a running back that played at Notre Dame. His name was Randy Kinder.
Okay.
Super nice guy, really productive at Notre Dame. But he came to Green Bay, and they obviously had Dorsey Levens and Edgar Bennett. And so they decided to convert him to corner. Okay. Now, again, when you get converted, it is a last-ditch effort. Generally speaking, you do not then succeed at the new position and end up finding success with the team that's converting you, right? I don't know how many players have done it successfully in the league, but it cannot be very many. When I tried to look it up, one of the examples was Ronnie Lott, who converted from corner to safety. No, That's not what we're talking here. We're talking offense to defense or vice versa. So Randy Kinder switches the corner. He's a really good athlete. They make the switch. He actually, he and I had hit it off for some reason. And I told him that I had a friend who was a teacher in Madison. And he was like, well, I used to do tons of school visits when I was at Notre Dame. Do you think they would want me to come to school and talk to them? I'm like, sure. So I drive him all the way to Madison.
Really?
Drive all the way back with him. Great guy. I mean, phenomenal guy. Like, we kept in touch after his time in Green Bay was over. I haven't talked to him in forever. But, like, really one of those, a little Bo Melton-y, frankly. Okay? We get back from Madison, and the very next day, the Packers cut him.
Oh, no.
Very next day, because he was never going to make it as a corner. It was just he was too far behind, right? Everyone else was starting at one starting line, and he was starting 1,000 yards back behind them because he had been a running back throughout his college career. In Bo's case, and I think this is the difference between him and Randy Kinder, is that he is still playing wide receiver. When they converted Randy Kinder, that was it.
It was a full-blown
conversion. He did not take another
right?
snap at running back.
Right.
He had a green jersey instead of a white jersey. Bo wants both in his locker. Also, Bo was chosen to do this. First of all, Matt LaFleur had mentioned it to him way back in 2023.
Oh, really?
But secondly, yes. And secondly, he was asked to do this because of what they saw from him as a tackler and as a cover guy on special teams. And so there is some measure of evidence that he has the skill set to do this. He did it in high school. He did it briefly at Rutgers until they said, you catch the ball too well. We're going to put you at wide receiver where you belong. So my point is that Bo was very adamant to say, hey, I am not switching positions. I am adding a position to my job description. And
Travis
that's what
Hunter.
Yeah, Packers got their own.
And I do wonder, and I did not, nobody brought that up. Matt LaFleur brought it up on his own about Travis Hunter and the comparison. Now, Bo shot that down. He's like, look, he won the Heisman Trophy. I'm not Travis Hunter, which, that's a great quality to have, right? I'm going to be just like Travis Hunter. Like, he's a humble dude who isn't looking at it as we have our Travis Hunter and it's me. But I do think that Matt LaFleur looked at that and said, you know what? I think Bo can do this. We do want him on this team. I think, even though as I've gone through the numbers of 9 wide receivers that would be deserving of a roster spot, I do think he makes this team because of his special teams value. Otherwise, everything they say about special teams, then they're full of crap.
Yep.
Right? They didn't bring back Eric Wilson. They did bring back Christian Welch after a year.
They did.
So they show that that's valuable. But they didn't bring back Robert Rochelle the musical. They didn't bring back Corey Ballantyne. Those are guys that were key special teams guys. So they're thin at corner. So it's not as if, well, we have so many good corners that we don't need these 2 corners that play special teams. So my point is that I think that helps Bo's case. But again, as we talked about on KBN, I can't sit here and say beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's going to be on this team. I think it's likely, but I don't think my issue is how some took it as this is the death knell for Bo Melton because it was for Randy Kinder and for other guys who moved spots.
Yeah,
and I don't think those are the same.
Yeah, Jason, when I look at this situation, and we were talking about it before, it's mini camping. Like in the past, you said, I think earlier this week, you guys talked about how the Packers actually didn't play, some type of fun game on the last day of minicamp. They actually practiced, and there was a different focus. Because I know at the last day of minicamp, a lot of these veterans were trying to get up out of here because, like, hey, this is our last time to have a break before we have that long grind. And if you look at Bo Melton, and if he's able to be serviceable at cornerback where you feel like, hey, in some type of situation, we can put him in the game and he's not going to, be just somebody gets targeted in his.
He's not going to be Ladarius Gunter in the NFC Championship.
Well,
game,
I mean, but hell, if he's Ladarius Gunter though, I mean, I'll take it. If he can be...
minus the NFC Championship
Minus the NFC Championship game, but Ladarius was, he wasn't awful.
He was he was one of the classic training camp heroes, right?
Yeah.
Where he just had an amazing preseason and everybody was rooting for him, and then ultimately we know what happened in the NFC Championship game. But I think, we're going to use a Jasonism here, Kyle, and that is essentially, I think both of us can safely say we're rooting for the story of Bo Melton, right? Because it's such a unique story. You don't hear this in the NFL. So I think I've been spending too much time with you, Jason. I'm rooting for the story here.
And the guy, because he's a legit good human. But I would also add this. I think Matt LaFleur was the one who said it, that, you get to have 48 guys active on game day. Having a guy that can be the last option at corner that could go in there under extreme duress because you've lost Nate Hobbs and Javon Bullard and Keyshawn Nixon all in the same game, there's value in that. But again, I don't think – I'm eager to see what we do in training camp, right? Like, how much time is Bo spending with the defense? How much is he spending with the offense? And he did say, look, I can run all day. And his point was, I don't have to – I can play both in practice and handle that workload. And, they have the GPS tracking that handles all that stuff, right? The exertion levels, how many miles you've run during the course of the practice, all that stuff. So they do have to be careful with that. But what I love about this, and Domofsky teases me because I take things that guys say and I bring them home to the girls because I have this great resource of being around professional athletes. I mean, they know what it takes, right? And Bo Melton said something great. He said, look, I was raised that when somebody asks you to do something for the team, you do it. It's as simple as that. And that's what I'm doing here. And so, who am I to say no? Now, again, is he going to be, Patrick Surtain by the end of the season? No, I don't think he's going to be. But if he can help them in one game in which they get beat up at corner and he can go in there and not get embarrassed and they can hold on for a 29-27 victory on Monday Night Football against the Eagles because they had a guy who could get them through that injury-plagued game for the last 15 defensive snaps, this will all have been worth it.
I love it. Jason Wilde hanging out with us on Father's Day for a few more minutes. Our favorite show, I don't want to speak for Jason, one of our favorite shows of the year, every year, happens live at Summerfest, which begins this week. We will tell you when State of the Packers is and what you can expect from State of the Packers. Coming up next with Jason Wilde at Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
More Sunday Karma coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. Insight from the best without ever giving it a rest.
I'm just assuming the Packers are making the playoffs. It's minus 125. You bet 125, you win 100. My opinions get some level of credibility if you agree. Like, you just assume they're going to make the playoffs, right?
The best 60 minutes of your day happens on the Homer Hour.
Well, I don't know if I assume it, but yes, I feel they are a skilled enough group.
Weekday afternoons from 5 to 6 on 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
At Potawatomi, where ways to win are endless, another chance to capture epic cash and prizes comes Friday, June 27th. It's the season finale blockbuster drawings. Watch your entries from Enchanted Spins, Unreal Treasures, and Boundless Bounty come together for drawings where $300,000 in cash and prizes is there for the taking. Be there to win your share. June 27th only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 years old to play.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor. If it's a celebrate or tailgate, when you're gonna recreate upstate. If it's a holiday, birthday, any date, you can save at Discount Liquor.
It's the world's largest music festival, and you'll be there compliments of Discount Liquor. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. There is no other party like Summerfest. Buy any one 15-pack of 16-ounce aluminum bottles of Miller Lite, Coors Light, or Coors Banquet, or any one 12-pack of Happy Thursday Spiked Refresher, and receive one free Summerfest ticket. Visit us at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee, and in Barstow and Maine in downtown Waukesha.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings.
See us for your free Summerfest ticket and check out our specials at DiscountLiquorInc.com.
Discount Liquor.
Here's to experiencing it all this summer in Wisconsin. Every deliciously cheesy, rockin', magical, fireworks-filled, festival-loving moment. There's Cheese Curd Fest in Ellsworth, Strawberry Fest in Cedarburg, Festival of the Arts in Stevens Point, and the Renaissance Fair in Bristol, Honor the Earth Powwow in Hayward, Mile of Music in Appleton, Venetian Fest, Bratfest, Summerfest. So many fests for your whole crew. Find them all at TravelWisconsin.com. Sponsored by Travel Wisconsin.
Home practice is about to begin. Your daughter's new tap shoes? Loud. Your son's new tuba? Louder. But you got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with $50 overdraft Greystone. So if you lose track of expenses buying some noise-canceling and sanity-saving headphones, we've got your back. You got this with $50 overdraft Greystone from Associated Bank. See AssociatedBank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
It's a home run! But wait, is your roof ready for the big league storms? If your roof has more holes than a catcher's mitt, it's time to bring in the pros.
At Avondale Roofing, we've been handling leaks, repairs, and full replacements with major league precision for over 30 years.
And as a GAF Master Elite certified contractor, we bring top-tier quality and proven performance to every job.
Whether it's a quick patch-up or full upgrade, our team steps up to the plate and knocks it out of the park every time.
You're out!
Don't wait till water's in your dugout. Call Avondale Roofing today and keep your home in the win column.
Hey, it's Brad Nortman, and I've got to tell you about my go-to car wash, Tsunami Express. Get your ride looking its best and ride the wave at Tsunami Express Car Wash, Milwaukee's fan favorite for that perfect shine. Sign up for a monthly membership and enjoy unlimited washes for less than $1 a day. Skip the wait with the fast lane and take advantage of great perks. With locations in Midtown Milwaukee, Waukesha, Greenfield, Oak Creek, and Mount Pleasant, Tsunami Express has you covered. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat. Visit TsunamiExpress.com to learn more.
Start the day with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
When you're paid like an A player, you have to play like an A player, not a B player, and he has never played like an A player.
On 94.5 ESPN, ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel, and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
I've been going through changes. I've been doing a little light rearranging. Blew up my whole life, but I'm not complaining. Just thought I'd start with some honesty. I used to only be concerned with my career.
You're listening to Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Happy Father's Day. Sunday Karma hanging out with you for about another hour or so till noon. Alex Strofe, Kyle Wallace with you. And joined once again by the three-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year and the 2025 Father of the Year, Jason Wilde, joins us on Father's Day. Oh, Jason. Is this Ben Rector? Is that who this is?
That is Ben Rector, and I was actually getting if I have time between all the things these two clowns have going on today, he and our buddy Matt Carney have a new collaborative song called Praying for Me, which is basically the two of them kind of singing a appreciation for their life song. And Matt's a 3-time girl dad, and I think Ben's got just one daughter at this point, but it's a great song and a little less slow than this one, but they're still slow. It's sappy daughter stuff, man. I can't wait till Kyle has like 4 daughters.
Okay, Jason, don't put that on me. I want healthy babies, but four daughters, I couldn't. That means it's 5 on 1.
That'd be good for Kyle. I'll just put that out there.
No.
I love you, Kyle, but you could use 4 daughters.
No. What do you mean I could use 4 daughters? 4 kids is enough.
I think.
Quick story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick story. So Paula and I go for her ultrasound for Maddie at 20 weeks. I swear to God, I don't remember doing this. But we're sitting there, I'm being the great husband and expectant father. I'm holding her hand and sitting right next to her. And the text says, "You guys want to know what you're having?" And we had agreed ahead of time, absolutely, because we want to be able to plan. We're both planners. And the text says, "Congratulations, it's going to be a girl." And allegedly, I let go of Paula's hand, crossed my arms, slump down in my seat, and go, because, and you guys have heard this saying before, and Matt LaFleur has actually used it to me on the sideline when we were talking about his boys and my girls. When you have boys, you only have to worry about one thing. When you have girls, you have to worry about all of them. And that was the thought that went through my head in that moment. And so, so we're, but I wouldn't trade these two for anything. We're pretty lucky, that's for sure. All right, back to football.
All right, back to football. Jason, you've said this on the record, so I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, but one of your favorite shows, one of my favorite shows we get to do every year on ESPN Wisconsin is
Law and Order.
Yes, that's also true.
Sorry.
Honk if you miss. Who is it again? You have that bumper sticker behind you?
Jerry Orbach.
Yeah, that hangs behind you in the Wilde Studios that you can see every day on Wilde and Tausch. State of the Packers is a 3-hour special we do from Summerfest every year. The latest iteration, so this will be year 4, I believe, might be year 3, of the iteration of myself, Gabe Neitzel, and you.
Your version. Yeah, I think it's technically year 3 because wasn't the first year where Gabe and I picked them to go 6-11, and
you're right. This is year 3. Yes.
And then last year they were 11-6, and now this year they're going to be 10-7 and make the playoffs and hope to win a playoff game.
Yeah, something like that. Might be I don't remember. I don't know. Regardless, we do it every year at Summerfest. You've done it for much longer than I've been a part of it. Every summer, where essentially we do, I don't want to say it's a 30,000-foot view because we get in the weeds a little bit at each position group, but it is essentially a 3-hour breakdown of every position group, the overall trajectory of this team, and ultimately, your diagnosis of what this team can be. We have a date. It is 20 days from today, July 5th, beginning at noon, Saturday, July 5th, the final day of Summerfest. From noon until 3, myself, Gabe Neitzel, Jason Wilde, the State of the Packers on these very stations. Are you ready for that show? Do you feel like you have all the information you need prior to training camp, as mandatory mini camps are now in the books, to give us a real in-depth assessment of where the Packers are for 3 hours coming up in 20 days?
Nope.
Good. Me too.
All right. So a couple things. One, nice serve. One, we should start the show. I mean, by the way, I'm excited we got 3 hours because the first time, and I think last year still 2?
No, it was 3 last year. We went to 3.
Okay, so we tried to jam it into 2 hours the first year, and that was just a exercise in futility. But we need to start with Matt LaFleur's answer to my question in his last answer of the offseason program before they all scattered about the countryside. When I asked him, 30,000-foot view, by the way, use that phrase, look at you mimicking me and not even knowing it, about, that you've got so many really good young players who, by the way, aren't so young anymore, that have shown repeated flashes of being really, really, really good, but have not done it consistently. And my question to him was, if those guys are who you think they are, what does that mean for you and what this team could accomplish this year? And I loved it because he totally censored himself. And he hesitates, and he says, I don't want to put too much out there. And he says, I think we can be a really good team, a really competitive team. But he thinks they're better than that. And I'll be honest, because I have looked at the schedule, looked at what these guys have proven on an extended basis versus what they would need to do to be truly a great team. And I have said 10-7, make the playoffs again, not win the division. But lots can happen. They got to stay healthy, all that other stuff. But after he said that, I was like, you know what? If that does come to fruition, man, this could be a big-time team that could do a lot of really cool stuff. I don't know if they're going to make the Super Bowl. That seems a little bit aggressive.
Yep.
But I do think that that the premise of my question and his answer will tell you that there is the possibility of some pretty special stuff if everything falls right. Now, the problem is, like last year, take Jair out of the equation. They stayed really healthy, right? I mean, Watson was healthy for the entire year until he blows out his ACL, not playing in a game he shouldn't have played in. Reed was banged up, but he didn't miss much time during the course of the season. obviously, Romeo Doubs missed some time with the concussion, the first one, and then obviously suffers the second one in the final game. But like their offensive line, even if it wasn't good enough in their opinion, played like the highest percentage of snaps together as a starting five of anyone in the league. So the one thing that I am leery of in putting those expectations out there is you just don't know how the health thing is going to fall.
No.
And hopefully for them, they stay healthy, because then we get to find out, is Jordan Love who we think he's capable of being, and are all these other guys the guys that we think they're capable of being, but they haven't been consistently.
I could talk about that all day, but 3 hours will have to suffice.
We'll save it for 20 days from now.
20 days from now, July 5th, State of the Packers beginning at noon. But you get a decent State of the Packers each and every weekday from 9 to noon on Wilde and Tausch with Jason Wilde. Jason, enjoy the rest of your Father's Day. Thanks for hanging out with us on Sunday Karma.
All right, guys. Happy Sons Day. Take care. Be good.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know.
Is that a thing?
I guess
he hung up, so I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Happy Sons Day, Kyle.
Oh, see, what I don't like is, no, I'm not going to take it.
I'm also not going to take it.
This is her father.
This isn't about us.
One day, hopefully,
we are pivotal in making our fathers fathers.
That is true.
However,
but we have others that made.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
we are both not the oldest sibling in our lineage.
We're just to add on extra.
Yeah, we're just extra. So actually, you and I did nothing. We have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I mean,
all right, good for us. I guess that's why we're working on a Sunday, huh?
Yeah. But one day I'll have kids. I'll probably still work.
Happy Father's Day to you. Oh, boy. I honestly don't even know how to tease this segment. I think it's going to be that good.
You ready?
I think Giannis Antetokounmpo, if he is to get traded, might get traded for 146 first-round picks, and that's not even an exaggeration. I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah, usually you're over the top.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm exaggerating this time. It might be over 100 first-round picks that Giannis would need to go for.
I can't wait.
I will explain why that is and why the NBA is so damn wacky, and more on why I don't think Giannis is going anywhere. That's all still ahead. Hour 2, Sunday Karma next.
This is Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Monica, we've got to hand it to you.
You and the design team have outdone yourselves.
Are you talking about the One collection?
Those rings say you are the one.
And they say it symbolically.
Describe the symbols.
Every ring in the One collection should be presented with a special ritual.
What would that ritual be?
You pick up her left hand and you place a kiss on her ring finger.
Rick, you never told me about that part.
Then you show her the tiny red diamond, flush-mounted inside the ring, that will forever be in contact with her finger.
Why is it red?
Because that's when the giver says to the one, wherever you go, my heart goes with you.
I give you this kiss. I give you my heart.
The red diamond is a secret symbol of that sacred moment.
The center diamond on the outside of the ring is for the whole world to see.
But the tiny red created diamond inside the ring is only for the two of them.
The One collection of engagement rings is available exclusively at Kessler's.
To find the Kessler's nearest you,
visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
This is an ad by BetterHelp.
With more than 35,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served more than 5 million people globally. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/timeout. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/timeout.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Protect and enjoy your outdoor living space with Thompson's Clear Wood Sealer. It maintains wood's natural color and provides durable year-round protection from water and sun damage in just one coat. View our entire selection of Thompson's Water Seal products on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer and find all the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
This is Brian Balaga. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN.
94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You're listening to Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Yeah, Sunday Karma with you Sunday morning. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Alex Strofe, Kyle Wallace, hanging out with you this morning on ESPN Wisconsin. Boy, oh boy, the NBA continuing to provide the headlines. And I'm actually not talking about the finals, which have been terrific, by the way. 2-2 series between the Thunder and the Pacers.
Pacers almost got it if it wasn't for Scott Foster.
Yeah, look, I think there were bad calls both ways.
I mean, but Scott, even when I was watching it, I literally said out loud, oh, Jordan push off there. That was a little push off there. And then,
oh, yeah.
And I said, I think that was a travel. I said, because they didn't show the replay.
You're talking about SGA's step back?
Yeah, because they went to break right after that because the Pacers called timeout, and they didn't show the replay. So I was like, or if they did, I'm like, that felt like he took more steps than he was supposed to. Like, it felt like he stumbled backwards and shot. I was like, that's a good shot that he made.
We've talked about it before. I'm not like a diehard Thunder fan by any means, but I certainly am rooting for the Thunder. Humble brag.
Oh, okay.
It's actually not about me. It's just a humble brag in general. My lovely girlfriend, whom I adore, past life was a member of the dance team for the Indiana Pacers.
Oh, she was a dancer.
She was an NBA dancer, yes, and she worked for the Pacers organization in a former life. So we've got a little bit of a split household right now. Very fun.
I mean,
it's made the series very fun.
It should be a little bit more lean. One was employed, the other one was just a child,
who really liked Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, like she'll be invited back one day for like their anniversary of the dance team. You will never be invited.
I just want a good series, and that's what we've gotten through 4 games. 2-2 series between the Thunder and the Pacers.
Hockey too, man.
Hockey too, been electric. Last night's game a little bit of a dud, but 3-2 Florida lead now.
Y'all have no idea what you're talking about with hockey. Can we make these picks? You guys had no idea. Oh, you just want Edmonton because they have the best player.
So I'm actually an Oilers fan.
Oh, here we go. Why are you an Edmonton Oilers fan?
So
based off what year?
Back on college radio, working at 90 FM in Stevens Point. I hosted the show, our weekly sports show, with 2 diehard hockey fans. One guy was from D.C., the other grew up playing hockey. So they were big hockey fans, and they always bullied me because I didn't talk about hockey enough on our sports show in Stevens Point, which seemed like the right decision by me. I stand by that decision. But, But essentially, they bullied me in. So this was, if you listen to KBN, weekdays from 2 to 5, which obviously is the show Kyle and I are both a part of, you may be familiar with this right here.
Oh, yeah, the Wheel of Strofe.
So we actually had a 30-slot wheel at the Stevens Point radio station. It had 30 slots. And I spun the wheel, and it landed on Edmonton. So that's how I became an Oilers fan. It's as simple as that.
That's it. So you've been supporting them through the thick and thin because they had some thin.
Diehard Oilers fan.
They had some thin before.
Tell me to name more than 2 players. I can't do it.
I was a Penguins fan growing up. Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr.
So yeah, good time to be Alex Strofe. All my favorite teams in the finals.
Yeah, real favorite.
Yeah, right. So anyway. But the NBA continuing to provide, as they always do, right? There is no league more entertaining from a player movement perspective than the NBA, right? You have massive free agents and massive trades all the time, and teams reloading in the offseason, rebuilding. I mean, you've got new-look teams, it's seemingly every year in the NBA offseason. But the NBA offseason has been centered around one guy. As we get closer and closer to a full-blown offseason, obviously 2 teams are still playing in the NBA Finals, but for the other 28, it is the offseason. And the NBA offseason has been centered around one, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Every day, we're hopping on these airwaves talking about somebody said this about Giannis, or a new report says this about a potential Giannis trade every single day here on ESPN Wisconsin. And today, the big story in the NBA, for once, actually has nothing to do with Giannis Antetokounmpo. It has to do with the Orlando Magic and the Memphis Grizzlies. Because the Orlando Magic, who seem like an up-and-coming squad, a team that could actually be something in the near future, after a pretty nice season for the Magic, they went ahead and made quite a blockbuster trade today.
They sure did.
The Orlando Magic have acquired Desmond Bane from the Memphis Grizzlies. In exchange for this, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, 4 first-round picks.
You said how many?
4. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So they're probably like
first-round picks.
And so they're probably like, hey, lottery protected and something like that, right? Because Desmond Bane's great, but there's no way. Like
4 guaranteed first-round picks.
Oh, wow.
Count them.
No swaps.
1, 2, 3, 4. No, and a swap.
So are these unprotected?
Unprotected.
Desmond Bane got you 4 unprotected first-round picks. On top of that, you sent Cole Anthony, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope,
and a pick swap.
They get
for Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane.
Desmond Bane averaged how many points last year? I mean, I know he's a good player. He's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Desmond Bane. Let's see how much he averaged. He averaged 19 points per game last year, huh?
That is about 15.3 points per game. Oh no, that's the postseason. I'm sorry. So yes, 19.
So for 19 points per game, you get 4 picks. So
he was the third. He was the third leading scorer on the.
I wonder what you get for 30 points per game and being an NBA champion and a star. So
and a 2-time MVP.
So 4 times. So that's at least 16 picks.
At least.
At least 6. So the Bucks, whoever. I mean.
So when the Bucks, this is not coming from Alex Striff. This is according to everything you read online and everything you watch on all of the networks and hear on all of the shows. When the Bucks inevitably trade Giannis Antetokounmpo, because that's what everybody is saying they're going to do, I would expect no less than, I think it's got to be higher than 16, Kyle. I'm thinking it's got to be at least 22 first-round picks.
I mean, they'll be picking into it.
Actually, that doesn't seem like enough. I think it should probably be like 37 first-round. No, I'm still struggling. I don't think that's enough. If Desmond Bane is getting 4 first-round picks, I'm just doing the math here. Mathematician Alex Strofe on the radio with you here for a moment. If Desmond Bane gets 2 players and 4 first-round picks and a pick swap, that would mean if Giannis is sent to Houston or San Antonio in response, I think, I think it's 114 first-round picks. I think that's what would be needed. That would be the equivalent of 4 for Desmond Bane and 2 players. I think it's 114 first-round picks for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, seriously. But I've used this as a point the entire time. You actually hear it in the show open of Sunday Karma. You can give me 65 first-round picks and I'm still not trading Giannis.
I mean,
because you can't guarantee another Giannis.
You cannot. So for everybody who's thinking that Giannis is going to get traded, obviously, writers, right? Actual writers who are reputable, saying, what we could potentially give for Giannis. So I think Eric Name did something with The Athletic where people were sending, what they can get for him. And he said no to every single trade, trying to explain to people, like, you guys got to understand, Giannis is a generational type player. So you thinking that, Scotty Barnes and a first-round pick or actually saying, Scotty Barnes is untouchable or, these guys are untouchable. Well, then you're not getting Giannis. Giannis would take the biggest trade haul in NBA history. In NBA history, how desperate is a team to be able to get a generational talent like Giannis? I'm glad this trade happened right now because if there is the small percent that Giannis actually does ask for a trade out of Milwaukee, then at least John Horst knows what the floor is. The floor is legitimately, I'm asking for 10 first-round picks minimum. I'm dead set. 10 first-round picks in young talent. I want to be picking in the first round. 10 might be low. I'm asking for a first-round pick every other draft for the next 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I need some second round picks as well. Matter of fact, because you give me, I want a second round pick every single year those 10 years. You give me 10 second round picks as well. You're not picking in the second round for a decade. I'm getting as many shots at it as I can with the Milwaukee Bucks and getting as many assets as I can if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks, if Giannis was to ever leave. Everything. So they better be ready to give up the whole world to get Giannis.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I've always thought the commentary around the idea of trading Giannis is ridiculous. Because, look, I mean, we've been through this. Milwaukee is what it is now because of Giannis. Fiserv Forum is the beautiful arena it is because of Giannis. Everything around in the Deer District is because of Giannis. Giannis has changed the trajectory of the franchise, the city, etc. He grew up here. He has become the face of the city. He has become, seriously, I mean, if you made a Mount Rushmore of like the most likable Wisconsin figures ever, he's up there with Bob Uecker and Chris Farley.
100%. 100%. Giannis is that dude. The Bucks, when Herb Cole was selling the Milwaukee Bucks, the reason why this team was, more attractive is because you had a young talent like Giannis. Now, Giannis might not be the only reason that they bought him, but they said, okay, we can get into the NBA for a little bit discounted price. But then once they buy the Milwaukee Bucks, the Bucks start a little bit to turn the corner a couple years in, and then all of a sudden you got some guys who know how to negotiate, and you have one of the greatest players on the planet to say, hey, we're going to bring something to this city because we have one of the greatest players on the planet. So either you do this or the Bucks are leaving. What do you want to do? Do you want to win championships? Do you want to develop around here where this is an attraction for the city of Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin? Or do you want us to move to Seattle? What are we going to do? And Giannis helped keep the Milwaukee Bucks here, and he helped develop the Deer District, and he helped convince those in lawmakers to make the decision to go ahead and let's make a deal. So I'm excited that Giannis did this for us, and Giannis, he owes us absolutely nothing.
No, he doesn't. But knowing him and reading the tea leaves that you can, right? Does anybody else
what
miss
tea
Woj?
leaves are you reading?
Does anybody else miss Woj?
I mean,
the tweet from Giannis earlier this week after Shams Charania said this is going to leak into August and September. Does anybody else miss? I mean, that's funny. It's funny. Giannis is funny, and the offseason, is certainly going to be long, right? I mean, this is not going to stop because the one valid point that I always try to acknowledge, because I don't want to say I don't want to sit here and say everything is bologna sausage, because I think there is some validity to the idea of the Bucks could trade Giannis. I think there is at least a little bit of validity to it. The one point that makes it valid is this would be the best time to get something rather than nothing for Giannis. He has 2 years left in his contract. If he is to leave and walk away in free agency in 2 years, then the Bucks would obviously be left with nothing. And if they would like to recoup some first-round picks and some assets for the best player by far, maybe not by far, but certainly the best player in franchise history, most impactful player in franchise history, they want to get something rather than nothing, now would be the time to do it. And I hear that. But I also think it would be dumb to do it. Because if you send Giannis somewhere, you are stripping that team of every asset they have, both in players and picks. So despite not having Damian Lillard for at least most of, if not all of next season, you are not giving yourself a great chance to go compete for a championship. I just think if you trade him somewhere, he also doesn't have that great of an opportunity to compete for a championship because there's not going to be a lot of pieces around him. Right? If you pair Giannis with Wemby in San Antonio, you're not going to have a first-round pick for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, you don't have
you're going to acquire a ton of players or a couple players and all of their picks. You send Giannis anywhere, I just don't think he has a better chance than he would in Milwaukee. And we'll see how this offseason goes because I trust John Horst to go make some moves in free agency.
Oh, do you now?
I do, yeah.
I trust to make moves in free agency for it to work out, not sure. But this is a window of opportunity. I think one thing that we're talking, even though we're talking about the picks, I think that one of the bigger things of this, I think this is a sign. This is a sign that the Orlando Magic understand that they had to pay a premium price in order to put themselves in a position to compete. The East is going to be wide open next year because Jason Tatum tore his Achilles. He ain't coming back. We love Dame. We think he's good, but he tore his Achilles. He ain't coming back. The Boston Celtics may be making some moves this offseason, clearing some cap space. So when you're talking about teams, the Indiana Pacers are a good team, but nobody thinks they're a juggernaut. They got hot. They're a very good team. The East is wide open. So a team like the Magic said, we're going to capitalize when there's a superstar that's going to be missing from the Eastern Conference that is already lacking superstars. You don't know what you're going to get out of Sixers. Joel Embiid, he's hurt more than Jair Alexander. So, again, I think the Magic just showed you that they believe the East is wide open. So this is an opportunity for John Horst to try to put his thinking cap on to see what can I do to make the Bucks as competitive as possible and put them in a position where when Dame is back and maybe we move on from Dame or whatever we try to do 2 years from now, the Bucks are in a position to maximize the window that they have with Giannis still in his early 30s.
Chef Ed on the Carbos Talking text line 800-990-3776. Chef Ed says he's going nowhere and the Bucks will be in the play-in tournament next year. I would put them between a 7 and a 10 seed. Certainly possible. The East is interesting.
It is possible. I do believe, even though I talk a lot of stuff about John Horst because he has not been able to rebuild the championship roster for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Not through the draft, that's for sure.
I will say this. is that I do believe John Horst has been creative enough the last year to bring some pieces around Giannis, and now this is only the first time ever that when he is looking in free agency, he is purely looking for how can I put pieces around Giannis. So he is the guy. We don't have any Robins now. It's Batman.
And you're not referring to Robin Lopez.
I ain't
you're
talking
referring
about
to the
Robin
Batman
Lopez.
Robin. Yes.
It's just straight up Batman by himself taking on Gotham City.
I like that. Yeah, I think John Horst deserves credit for some of the. I've used this term with Brian Gutekunst before, the low-risk, high-reward moves. Gary Trent Jr. certainly falls into that. Taurean Prince falls into that. Kevin Porter Jr., right? Trading Marjon Beauchamp and getting Kevin Porter Jr. is just a really impressive return on a guy that was not a good asset for you. Now, John Horst has been bad in the NBA draft. I mean, there's no denying that. Now, I've always defended him from this part of I think it's so hard when you are picking in the low 20s to get a hit.
You know I hate this argument.
I know you do.
I hate it. Because
and I understand why
if you take so many swings, you got to hit at least one.
Exactly. And I think that's a fair point. And I think it's a completely fair point by you. There's no denying he's been bad in the draft. But he's been really solid, I think, in free agency and those low-risk, high-reward moves. Hopefully they can pull some more off this offseason. We'll continue to talk Giannis. I do want to get to what happened in the Brewers world this week. Because this Aaron Savali story is just amazing to me.
I agree.
And I do want to recap that at some point. And then, of course, we got to get to our Palermo's picks.
Can we be Brewers nerds on this show?
Yeah, we love the Brewers on the show. All right, we've got a jam-packed final half an hour plus. Stick with us. More Giannis, Aaron Savali, Palermo's picks, all still ahead. Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. With Wilde and Tausch, you won't miss a play.
Is this going to be the case where we're going to look back and say, man, did Green Bay really screw up by cutting Jair Alexander?
Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
My answer is going to be no. If Goody was banking on bringing back Jair and counting on him being the number one corner, that would have been gross negligence by Brian Gutekunst.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel, and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Hey, this is Mike from Infinity Exteriors. Buying a roof, siding, or windows can feel overwhelming. Hidden costs, confusing contracts. We don't play that game. We educate you so you can decide. And when you know the facts, Infinity Exteriors is the clear choice. Since 1997, we've installed peace of mind with no surprise upcharges, flexible budgets, and immediate financing. Infinity Exteriors, saving our communities from unscrupulous contractors. Visit infinityexteriors.com.
At Citizens Bank, community banking is you, growing your business with a partner who gets it. It's you, buying your first home with a lender who makes it easy. It's you, building a future with savings that work just as hard as you. And it's us, working together to strengthen our community. Because at Citizens Bank, community banking means you plus us. Visit us at citizensbankwi.bank. Citizens Bank is member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Kyle Walsh, and right now UWD is running their home improvement season sale. Payments as low as $99 a month or no payments and no interest for an entire year. Call 414-410-2000 or go to universalwindowsdirect.com.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Kevin Moret here for Mentality. Listen up, gentlemen. You're fighting an unfair battle. Studies show testosterone levels in men have plummeted by 25% in just 2 decades. That's why you're struggling with energy, muscle, and drive. But here's a game changer. Mentality's FDA-approved treatments boost testosterone by 30% on average. Imagine reclaiming the vitality your grandfathers had. Picture turning heads, dominating your career, and feeling unstoppable again. Don't settle for today's normal. Seize the day at mentalityhealth.com/radio. That's mentalityhealth.com/radio.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings. Discount liquor. If it's a celebrate or tailgate when you're gonna recreate upstate. If it's a holiday, birthday, any date, you can save at Discount Liquor.
It's the world's largest music festival, and you'll be there compliments of Discount Liquor. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. There is no other party like Summerfest. So get the fun started by stopping in to Discount Liquor. When you buy any one 12-pack of Blue Moon or Blue Moon Light, or any one 12-pack of Arnold Palmer Spiked Hard Tea, you'll receive a free Summerfest ticket. Visit us at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee, and in Barstow and Maine in downtown Waukesha.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings.
See us for your free Summerfest ticket, and check out our specials at DiscountLiquorInc.com.
Discount Liquor.
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video. Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Now, Dad, this is a very sensitive subject.
Is Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Feeling good on a Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin. Alex Strofe, Kyle Wallace, hanging out with you. If you or somebody you know or love has been seriously injured in an accident, there's only one call to make, and that is, of course, to our friends at Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. For over 30 years, Gruber Law Offices has been serving the people of Wisconsin. They are Wisconsin. You see the billboards. You see them on all of the sports games. It's because they are Wisconsin. Gruber-law.com is the website. 414-404-7694. 414-404-7694. Free case evaluations 24/7. Gruber Law Offices. One call. That's all. I like this jam, Kyle.
No, it is a great one, ain't it? You remember the song?
Of course. You and I. Very good. Very good. All right, let's put a bow on this Giannis conversation. So Desmond Bane traded from the Grizzlies to the Magic this morning in exchange for 2 players of 4 first-round picks and a pick swap, which makes us believe, I believe we landed on 114, Kyle, first-round picks for Giannis would be the proper compensation if he is to be traded.
Yeah, I mean, you exaggerated, so.
I always do.
You exaggerated, but I mean, that's the point. Getting the point across.
So a couple things. I thought this text from Ian on the Cardables Talking text line was really interesting because it's got to be one of my biggest what ifs. At least in terms of my Wisconsin sports fandom. I'm only 26, so I wasn't around and conscious in the 90s.
I was
for the Packers' 2 Super Bowl runs and 1 win, obviously 1 loss in the mid 90s, but. There's obviously always what ifs when it comes to Wisconsin sports history. What if Brandon Bostic doesn't fumble that onside kick against the Seattle Seahawks?
You mean touch it?
Well, touch it and then fumble it and then ultimately recovered by the Seahawks. Is that a fumble technically?
I thought he touched it and
then it was and then it was bounced. But that's a fumble. In terms of kickoff rules,
I don't know.
I guess I don't know if if that goes in the stat sheet as a fumble
because it's a live ball after 10 yards. So
right.
I don't know. I have no idea. I was just mad at Mike McCarthy.
But anyway, one of the what ifs from Ian on the text line. I would have loved to see what the team looked like if Jabari Parker would have turned into everything we could have hoped. Giannis and Jabari could have been a special 1-2 combo, but we couldn't have kept both. So in the end, I think it worked out for the best. Yeah, I think that's fair. Obviously, a number 2 overall pick in Jabari Parker, who I think everybody figured would end up being the star of this team.
I sure did. I said, boy.
Because nobody had that expectation for Giannis. No. I think everybody was fascinated by the pick when it happened.
And Chris Middleton, too.
And then, Chris Middleton would have been around, too. It would have been a pretty darn good team. Jabari Parker will always be a what if he never teared his ACL the first time and then ultimately the second time. Will always be a what if. But
I don't think Giannis is as great if Jabari doesn't get hurt.
I don't know
because you have 2 guys who are
because he probably doesn't become the guy, right? He probably becomes Jabari until you figure out that Giannis had the higher ceiling.
Yeah, because Jabari would have to move over. It's sad, but it it had to happen that way for Giannis to be as great as he is.
Kevin Chum says, when the Bucks would get if the Bucks were to get a bunch of players in a trade of Giannis, what players are they cutting to fit them on the team? His point is, trading Giannis completely changes what the Bucks look like, and of course it does. Because, and I jokingly say 114, but realistically looking at this Desmond Bane trade, you're going to get a ton of first-round picks. I mean, we're talking 7, 8 probably on top of
minimum
4 players maybe.
Because somebody just got traded for like 8 first-round picks or 2 off seasons ago. I think it was I have to look it up.
Bradley Beal got traded for a bunch.
Mikal Bridges.
Mikal Bridges got traded for a bunch.
Like 6 or 7 draft picks.
I mean, when you trade a player of that magnitude, you have to unload every possible asset because no way John Horst is going to go, okay, yep, let's do it, without essentially rebuilding the roster. You have to, whether that be via draft picks, whether that be via new players. You are rebuilding the roster if you send somebody at the magnitude of Giannis, who is MVP good. He got MVP votes this year. And, I mean, I haven't looked at sports books. I don't even know if the odds are available for next season's MVP, but I would guarantee Giannis will be the betting favorite, or top 2 or top 3, right? SGA, Jokic, Giannis will be your top 3, just like they were in MVP voting this year. That will be what next year's odds look like. I would guess Giannis is number 1, though, given that there is no Damian Lillard. There's not really a Robin, to Kyle's earlier point, next year for Giannis. So we will see. Okay, we'll talk Brewers coming up next. We'll get to Palermo's picks, all still ahead. Kyle Wallace, Alex Strofe hanging out with you. Happy Father's Day. More Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin right after this.
This is Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
It's a home run! But wait, is your roof ready for the big league storms? If your roof has more holes than a catcher's mitt, it's time to bring in the pros. At Avondale Roofing, we've been handling leaks, repairs, and full replacements with major league precision for over 30 years. And as a GAF Master Elite certified contractor, we bring top-tier quality and proven performance to every job. Whether it's a quick patch-up or full upgrade, our team steps up to the plate and knocks it out of the park every time. You're out! Don't wait till water's in your dugout. Call Avondale Roofing today and keep your home in the win column.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
They say seeing is believing. And when you check out what's waiting for you at American Place Casino, you'll definitely believe you'll love it. From thrilling gaming to top-notch service, we're changing the game. Come play all your favorites like blackjack, craps, roulette, and the latest slots. Catch a game at the sportsbook, enjoy great restaurants, bars, and more. If you're ready for excitement, exceptional service, and an experience you'll never forget, then we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game. Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
The UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. People ask me, old T, why did you join UW Credit Union? Well, is it to keep your banking local? Is it the member first service? Great perks like early payday? Absolutely. But honestly, between us, I mean, it's Bucky. I can't say no to that face. If you love Wisconsin like I do, you just can't pay with anything else. Fandom makes us do crazy things, but this just makes sense. Become a UW Credit Union member and get your Bucky card like me. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
Gabe Neitzel from On the Tee here. There's watching the Brewers, and then there's watching while golfing at X-Golf inside American Family Field. Group options are endless. Book a sim bundle with at least 4 people for $70 per person, or go big with the Sim Double Play, a minimum of 22 people for $50 per person. Both include a game ticket, premium high-tech simulators with a view, and seating for everyone right next to Bernie's Slide. Book your game day at X-Golf inside American Family Field. Open to all fans in the ballpark each Brewer game.
Truck drivers, are you tired of an outdated truck hurting your paychecks? At Schneider, we add new trucks to our fleet every year to keep drivers moving and racking up the miles. Our easy-to-use technology is designed to keep you safe and comfortable while also boosting your income potential. So, are you ready to get behind the wheel of a more reliable ride? Find jobs near you and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Communities in Southern California urgently need our help.
The Los Angeles wildfires have been some of the most destructive in state history. Thousands of homes destroyed, schools, classrooms, libraries, museums, places of worship, all lost. And livelihoods ruined. With so much devastation, students, families, businesses, and communities are now left struggling to recover. And that road to recovery will be a very long and a very difficult one. But there is hope. The SoCal Fire Fund provides immediate, free, and long-term support for countless community-centered recovery programs. You can be a part of providing those most impacted with the resources they need to move forward. So please, visit SoCalFireFund.org to learn more about how you can join in this tremendous effort.
Station updates, show clips, and your place to interact with us every single day just by scrolling through your feed. Follow along on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at ESPN Milwaukee. More Sunday Karma coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Sunday Karma with you. Alex Strofe, Kyle Wallace hanging with you for about 20 more minutes on this Sunday morning. Happy Father's Day to you. Hey, if you're scrambling for a last-minute Father's Day gift, maybe you're out and about heading to go see Pops, I've got to tell you about my friends at Door County Distillery. Locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County and Carlsville. I was up there on Friday, and man, it is so cool, right? They do the tour, they do the tastings. It is just the coolest building, great outdoor space if you're heading to Door County, just north of Sturgeon Bay. You got to check out Door County Distillery anytime this summer. And they have so many great exclusive products only in Door County, including one I broke open last night. They have this great... So I've always talked about how much I love their bourbon from Door County Distillery. I'm a bourbon drinker. Thanks to my pops for getting me started on bourbon. One of the best bourbons I've ever had. I picked up a bottle of the maple finished bourbon whiskey from Door County Distillery. It's only available in Carlsville, so if you're heading up to Door County, check it out. But their bourbon is available statewide, and I love it. You can get it if you're in Milwaukee, Total Wine. If you're in Madison, Woodman's, and a ton of other local liquor stores in Madison, all over the state. Check out their website, doorcountydistillery.com. Find the product nearest you. Brandies, gins, vodkas, whiskeys, all the in-betweens. Locally produced, affordable, delicious, award-winning. doorcountydistillery.com to find the retailer nearest to you. And I know Dad will be appreciative if he's a bourbon drinker or gin drinker. The Door County Distillery is just the best. doorcountydistillery.com. Been a really interesting week in Milwaukee Brewers land as they leapfrogged the Cardinals after a couple wins earlier in the series that started on on Thursday. Final game of that 4-game series tonight, this afternoon. A day off tomorrow for the Brewers before a 3-game series gets started with the Cubs, who they are 5.5 games back of in the standings. But that's actually not what I want to talk about, because it's been an awesome week in terms of a historic debut, I think is a fitting way to put it, for Jacob Misiorowski, the Miz.
Yeah, there's not too many pitchers who in their debut go 5 no-hit innings.
No, it is pretty unheard of. And that guy throws gas, man. His first 3 pitches in the majors, 100 miles an hour, 102 miles an hour, 102 miles an hour. In his debut, he threw 14 pitches over 100 miles an hour. That is the most from a pitcher by far in Brewers history. In fact, the 14 pitches of over 100 miles an hour, I believe I read somewhere, and this could be wrong, so don't mark my word on this, but I believe I read the 14 pitches over 100 miles an hour that Jacob Misiorowski threw is more pitches than the Brewers had thrown over 100 miles an hour in the franchise's history. Did you see that?
Or in a
single game, maybe?
It was in a long time. That's all I know.
Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah,
from Jacob Misiorowski in his debut.
I know I don't want to put too much on him because this guy's a Hall of Famer, but there's another 6'7" guy who was throwing gas, or he was 6'10", and Randy Johnson, who had control issues. That was the biggest thing that Randy Johnson had, was some control issues, and you saw it with the walks. But if Jacob Misiorowski, who I believe is only 23 or 24 years old, is able to continue to develop as he has since the Brewers drafted, I want to say the 6th round they got him or something like that. Whenever they draft him, see him develop. If he continues to develop and he's able to keep this heater like this, oh my gosh, the Brewers have an ace.
Misiorowski scheduled to pitch against the Cubs on Wednesday. How fun is that? After Chad Patrick, another rookie, takes the mound Tuesday in a huge series for the Brewers. But the Jacob Misiorowski call-up set off a little bit of drama in the Milwaukee Brewers clubhouse because they were bringing up Misiorowski to start rather than going with the 6-man rotation. They're sticking with the normal 5-man rotation, meaning there was an odd man out. That odd man was Aaron Savale, who was moved from starting and told he was going to be working out of the bullpen moving forward, with Jacob Misiorowski joining the Brewers' active roster.
Team player. He should be a team player.
Aaron Savale turned 30 years old on Thursday. Oddly enough, the same day as Jacob Misiorowski's debut. On Aaron Savale's 30th birthday, he was told, hey, man, you're moving to the bullpen. He said, what I would like for my birthday is a trade. I am a starter. I am not a reliever. I'm going to continue starting if I have anything to do with it. So if you're not going to start me, trade me, is what Aaron Savale essentially told the Brewers on Thursday. And in response, the Brewers said, okay, we will. And that's exactly what they did. Friday morning, the news comes across that the Brewers have traded Aaron Savale, not to a contender, not to a team that's in prime striking position, not to a team that's going to make the playoffs. In fact, they sent him to the team with the worst record in the American League, the second worst record in all of baseball. Aaron Savale was traded to the Chicago White Sox, who have an awesome record of 23-48. Fine. You don't want to relieve for us? You don't want to pitch out of the bullpen for us? Go pitch for the White Sox. Have fun, pal.
Join Tyler Alexander?
Yep, correct. Go to the White Sox.
I'm not mad about it because I mean,
it's hilarious.
You traded for Aaron Savale. You traded him for like some young prospect. Now I wouldn't call him prospect.
He's not really a prospect. He was the number 3 overall.
No. I'm talking about when you got him from the Rays.
Oh, sure.
I mean, you got him and you traded him for somebody who may or may not ever be anything, and then you traded him again. Now you're flipping for a guy who's been struggling. 3rd overall pick years ago.
Andrew Vaughn. Yeah,
Andrew Vaughn. And I mean, for me, I said it was a good trade because you got something for him. And maybe you're able, as the Brewers have done so often, have been able to have these guys turn into something. I know Andrew Vaughn has struggled mightily this year. Very bad this year. But again, say all of a sudden he starts raking a little bit down there in AAA, and all of a sudden he refines himself, and we find a guy that can play third base for maybe 2 years?
Yeah, maybe.
No, I mean, it ain't going to be too long. He's 27.
Yeah, I mean, he just might not be that guy.
He may not be, but again, I think it's worth taking him.
It's a depth move, right?
And he's played in the majors before. He's having a very down year before. Last year,
the Brewers put him in AAA,
where he was already at.
And off and on, but yes. And ultimately, it's a depth play, right? If Bowers or Rhys Hoskins, knock on wood, were to be injured, then obviously you have a depth piece. But
I mean, and then
other than that, it's not a huge move for the Brewers. They don't get a huge return. They send a little bit of cash to make the contracts even, but it is what it is. In all honesty, right? This isn't a crazy move. It's just a funny move by the Brewers. It actually shows that.
What do you think is so funny about it?
Because if somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, man, I'm not going to do what's best for the team. I'd prefer to be traded." The Brewers can do one of two things. They could say, "No, we're not trading you. You're just going to have to deal with it," or oblige and say, "Yeah, we will trade you."
I'm glad they did oblige because they need to open up a roster.
But they didn't oblige by trying to really, get a huge return back, which Savale's not going to get a huge return. I understand that.
Some young prospect that you don't know what they're going to be. I'd rather get a guy who's failing.
The funny part to me, Kyle, is they didn't call, I don't know, I'm just going to throw a couple random teams out there. They didn't call Atlanta, or they didn't call Seattle, or they didn't call Kansas City. They called the worst team in the American League. They called the worst team in the league in the Chicago White Sox.
And
said, "Go have fun, man."
Probably a veteran starting pitcher, and I mean for him,
Savale's it's the final year of his deal, so he's trying to get some free agent money next year.
He didn't
but he's 30 years old.
He didn't care about winning. Had he cared about winning, he would have pitched out the bullpen.
He cares about lining his pockets.
Exactly.
But if he cares about the longevity of his career, you'd think he would oblige and pitch out of the bullpen because he's 30 years old.
And
if he wants to extend his career, it's probably not as a starting pitcher.
Well, he wants to get
his ERA is close to 5, right? It's not like he's having a good season. He's having a completely fine, average season in the several starts he made for the Brewers.
He's a back end starter. That's all it is.
It's not that great. So, funny move by the Brewers.
I love it.
Brewers' final game in a 4-game series against the Cardinals today. That is a 1:10 first pitch. Coverage will begin on 620 WTMJ with Dom Catronio on Brewers warm-up beginning at noon. And I believe coverage starts right around 12:30, 100.5 ESPN Madison at 620 WTMJ with Levering and company.
Matt Arnold hasn't done anything that has made me mad yet. I mean, I've been like, oh, maybe we could have got more for Corbin Burns.
Okay, real quick, because I know we got to get to a break. We got to get to Palermo's picks. Can you power rank your favorite to least favorite professional GM in the state of Wisconsin? Matt Arnold, John Horst, Brian Gutekunst.
Oh,
1 to
yeah.
3.
Matt Arnold's number 1.
Okay.
Goody's number 2.
And John Horst 3?
And John Horst is number 3, even though John Horst is the only one to give me a
I was going to say, the only one that's won you a championship is in last place.
But again,
you're impossible to please.
I'm no. I just have expectations. That's the problem. Y'all be so. We're living in 2021 still. I'm like, yeah, 2021 was great, but like, what has happened in 22, 23?
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, no, like, for real, you've given me a lot of heartache. So that's my whole thing. Is that
I would argue injuries have given you more heartache than John Horst has.
No, I
because you would agree 10 times out of 10 you're taking the same swing he did on Damian Lillard.
Oh,
yes?
I never once knocked her for that swing. I never once knocked her for that swing whatsoever. But I got hurt.
If we revisit the Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma trade, hindsight being 2020, I don't think you do that.
No, I would.
But at the time, were you okay with it?
At the time, because you wanted to move on for Chris Middleton's contract. Because
it goes back to kind of the Jair adage we've used a few times, which is the best ability is availability.
Yeah, and he wasn't available, but what we found out this year is that we probably could have used Chris
Middleton. Is it fair to say Chris Middleton is the Jair Alexander of the Bucks?
No. Because I don't though I don't believe Jair has some immature issues, some maturity issues where Chris Middleton
I wasn't going from a behavioral standpoint. I more meant from
yeah, I would say so. I would say
from when he's on the court, he was solid.
Defensively, he was a liability.
He sure was.
He was a liability. He couldn't move. Chris Middleton. What's sad is Chris Middleton's career is almost over. He went to Washington where careers are going to go to die.
True that.
And he barely even played for him.
Yeah. Well.
So sad because that's probably it for Chris.
Yeah, we'll see. Might have a little bit.
What is he going to? He can't play defense, so all you can do is catch and shoot.
That's true.
But if you can't play defense,
that could be a decent asset.
Yeah,
off the bench.
But if you can't play defense, you're a huge liability. He was a liability.
I don't disagree with you on that. All right, Palermo's picks coming up next as we wrap up Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. On this show, it's always football season.
And one of the reasons why Jair no longer fits what they are doing is because he's not physical like he was until Najee Harris ran him over in 2021.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
That's just the reality. And Jeff Hafley relies on his corners to tackle and be physical.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel, and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
This is Mike from Professional Construction, Inc. It's been an exciting year, from celebrating 20 years in business to our son graduating his construction apprenticeship and becoming a full-time carpenter.
Yeah, Dad, I won't be needing my toy hammer anymore. Why don't you hold that and the flashlight so I can help our amazing customers?
That's what a family business is all about, pursuing dreams and helping others.
And that's exactly what we do here at PCI.
Visit ProfessionalConstructionInc.com for all your construction needs.
Hey, it's Kyle Walsh, and if you're a homeowner like me, you know how it goes. There's always a project that needs attention, and sometimes the big ones, like replacing old windows, get pushed to the bottom of the list. But I'm telling you, this is the time to finally check that box with Universal Windows Direct. They're running their home improvement season sale, and the offer is just too good to pass up. You can get payments as low as $99 a month or no payments and no interest for an entire year. Call 414-410-2000 or go to universalwindowsdirect.com.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food Store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 24-pack Essential Everyday Purified Water, 2 for $6. 7 to 16-ounce selected varieties Barilla Pasta or Ready Pasta, 2 for $3. 6-count selected varieties Klondike Bars, 2 for $8. 12-ounce selected varieties Helluva Good Dips, 2 for $3.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers.
Safe. Okay. Ooh,
Pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
Transform the way you do business with Fifth Third Bank's Commercial Payments Solutions. Our market expertise and managed services streamline your entire payment process, seamlessly integrating with your existing systems to give you unparalleled control. Discover new revenue sources, save time, reduce operating costs, and boost your bottom line with our customized payment solutions. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman's Brad Nortman. You hear me talk about Carbless and their refreshing flavors all the time. One of my favorites is watermelon, and Carbless just dropped the Watermelon Vodka Cocktail 4-pack. Perfect for chilling, grilling, or game day thrills. You know the drill. Zero sugar, unlimited flavor. Enjoy clean, crisp refreshment without the guilt. That's what Carbless does. Find the new Watermelon 4-packs wherever you get your Carbless. Crack open the taste of summer and get your bliss on.
For your next night out, revel in the fusion of artistry and flavor with Sushi at St. Kate, offering guests an elevated experience where freshness and creativity converge in every bite. St. Kate the Arts Hotel introduces an exciting new sushi menu to its culinary repertoire. Indulge in the finest seafood, freshest ingredients, and expert craftsmanship for an inspired and delectable dining journey. Experience the art of sushi at St. Kate and learn more at stkatearts.com.
Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN.
Were they good enough in that game against Philadelphia? Yes. But the narrative that the defense this past season, this is blasphemy.
You're listening to ESPN Milwaukee on 94.5 ESPN and the ESPN Wisconsin app. It's that time.
Yes, it's finally here.
Craig makes his picks of the week.
You can bet the house on it.
Picks of the week on Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin. Presented by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza.
Can't wait to see what happens next.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Here is your chance to try an all-new pizza, Ragu Frozen Pizzas. Now available at Metcalf's and on sale for $4.99. That's less than $5 for a limited time. Until June 18th, you get a couple days left on that. That's at Metcalf's, $4.99 Ragu Frozen Pizzas. Try them all: cheese, combo, pepperoni, and supreme. Enjoy these pizzeria-inspired crusts topped with Ragu-inspired sauces and your favorite family-pleasing toppings. It's an Italian heritage in a convenient family favorite food. At an affordable price, try new Ragu Frozen Pizzas by stopping at Metcalf's today. $4.99 until the 18th. Sunday Karma, Alex Stroh, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you for a few more minutes here on ESPN Wisconsin. Ahead of Brewers-Cardinals, final game in that series, 4-game series. Coming up, 12:30 coverage starts, 100.5 ESPN Madison, and of course, on 620 WTMJ, the home of the Brewers. Brewers are 5.5 games back of the Cubs in the NL Central, and a 3-game series Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at Wrigley Field between those two teams allows for the Brewers to get within striking distance here in the National League Central. It's looking more and more to me like the Brewers probably won't catch the Cubs to win the division this season, but I think we can go ahead and do away with the idea we've had for a lot of this baseball season, which was that the Brewers weren't going to be able to make a wild card spot. In order to make the playoffs, they'd have to win the NL Central. I think that's what a lot of us operated under, the idea a lot of us operated under. But it looks like the Brewers, after this little run they've been on the last 3.5 weeks, could win a wild card spot. Brewers are 1.5 games back of the final wild card spot. Phillies, Giants, Padres currently occupy those spots. But I think the Brewers could catch the Padres if they can't catch the Cubs in the NL Central.
What if the Brewers get healthy with their pitching staff?
Watch out. I still think the Cubs are really good. I hate to admit it, but the Cubs are really good. Wild card might be the route, but hey, we'll see what happens this week. Brewers go ahead and sweep the Cubs in Chicago. Uh-oh. All of a sudden, we got ourselves a race. That does it for us today. Thanks for hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your Father's Day. Make sure you call a father. Tell him you love him. Wish him a happy Father's Day. I'm going to make those phone calls right after the show. We'll be back with you next Sunday, beginning at 10 a.m. right here on Sunday Karma. I'm Alex Strope saying so long. Kyle, send us out.
Peace out.
This is ESPN Wisconsin and ESPNWisconsin.com.
Erica, it's good to see you.
How are things at our amazing Germantown location? Absolutely.